Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Being You Pod. I'm Bronwyn. I'm a personal trainer and nutritional therapist, and I love podcasts, self-development, true crime, lifestyle, whatever you have. I just don't like the time that it takes to listen to them. So here we are, wellness without the waffle. And I have a great timekeeper. He's almost 10 months old, and he's currently just not wanting to nap. And I said, you know what? 15 minutes. You can play in your crib. Maybe you'll nap, maybe you won't. We're teething. We're just excited about standing up and terrorizing our plants. And I've just left him for a little bit. So if this podcast episode goes over 20 minutes, feel free to call Tuzla on me. He's okay. But right now, mommy needs to work. And what we're going to work on today is stepping into a conversation I had with a former client recently. Former to the point where I think the last time I worked with this person was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. She took her training wheels off and flew free. And I always say that I do like a massive like mom proud moment victory dance when clients are capable and confident enough to say, hey, thank you so much for your help. I'm going to do this on my own now. The goal as a coach and as a practitioner is never to sign somebody up and take all their money for the rest of their life, right? And if you are with someone who is doing that to you, you can absolutely say thank you, but no thank you. And come join the BU fitness and nutrition community. I do have very limited spots available. If you're watching on YouTube, let's not talk about the postpartum hairstyle we're rocking right now. And I know that I do viral clips for social, viral in inverted commas, and I'm just going to keep looking back on these and be like, look at the postpartumness. But here she is. We're working on styling her. She's not very stylable at the moment. I don't know. On one hand, I look like George Washington. On the other hand, I look like Albert Einstein. It's fine. So let's dive into this conversation that I had with a former client who reached out to me. She's been living life. She's married. She just did a really long travel stint abroad, and I'm like, sign me up. I kind of miss those days. Do I picture the living abroad, traveling abroad, working on cruise ships with a child concept being amazing? No. And anybody who can do it, I really admire you. But I do miss traveling, and I feel like maybe I will just pack up. With the state of the world at the moment, maybe I will just pack up and float around for a few months with my kid and just be like, let's live. Anyway, that's what this client has done and has had a change in job since we last worked together. She's had a change in living space since we last worked together and reached out to pick my brain. And I am all for having my brain picked. If you want to pick my brain, just reach out. I'll help you. We'll chat because I'm sound. I'm that kind of person that doesn't mind having my brain picked if it means that you are getting pointed in the right direction, in the direction that is not going to be a waste of time or finances or effort when it comes to your personal health and wellness. So reached out to pick my brain, and here's what's changed. There's been a big increase in her activity level. There's been, like we said, a change in job, a change in actual geographical location in which she lives, and also there's a change in her future intentions. Future intentions being going from a couple happily married to family planning mode and looking at sustainably maintaining the career that she has while being able to nourish her body and prepare it to have a family in the near future. And when I say near future, I mean in the next 4 to 5 years. That's near future. So reach out and she's like, hey, this is what's changed. What should I do? I want to make sure that I feel my best. I'm feeling low energy, I'm feeling low muscle, and I just need to know what to do. What do I do? And I said, hey, I'm really glad that you reached out to me because this is where you are going to start. And this is a starting point that anybody can go from. If you're looking to make some changes or kind of just hone back in on the stuff that used to make you feel good and now you don't know what to do, this is the stuff that you're going to hone in on. Side note, I've just checked the monitor. He's asleep. Maybe we have more than 20 minutes. No, we don't. We don't. Anyway, back to the story. First of all, reach out to the person, say congratulations. So nice to hear from you. And thank you so much for reaching back out to me, not being scared to do that. Number one, the time frame. How long do you need to take to look at your current situation, reflect on it, and have like hard metrics to make change from? 1 to 2 weeks, honestly. 1 to 2 weeks can give you a good run because you've got the Monday to Friday work week. In some cases, you have the Saturday, Sunday weekend, or you've got your work week versus your weekend days established. So you have that. And you don't need to log this anywhere. You can write it down in a journal. You can use an app. You can use your notes. You can screenshot it. You can use ChatGPT. But you need to log your week. And I suggest a week to 2 weeks because also too, that gives you enough time to see change or see where you need change to happen without being like, oh my gosh, and no, first I have to monitor this for 6 weeks. Like, how am I going to do that for 6 weeks and then think about making change? I want to think about making change now. 1 to 2 weeks. Here's what I told her to monitor. And this is based around the specific goal of wanting to feel more energized, wanting to feel more structurally sound physically, and also wanting to kind of get your head around looking at the family planning process, preparing for the family planning process, and executing the family planning process. I said she needs to keep a food diary. And I know you're sitting here being like, Bronwyn, this is so old news. You've said this before. I've heard this from 5 other people before. And a food diary is just not something I want to do. For a week to 2 weeks, it's a great idea because you can see where, A, all of your calories are coming from, B, what of your calories are macronutrients and micronutrients, and C, what time your calories are consumed. The timing being important because if you are having a breakfast that is half an egg, a lunch that is the other half an egg plus some turkey, and then a dinner which is a 7-course meal meant to feed 5 people, you need to redistribute that because first of all, the first thing that I'm always looking at with clients is your blood sugar flow throughout the day. Are we having even peaks and troughs throughout the day? That's what we want. Are those peaks really high? And are we coming down to that trough nice and calm? That's what we want. We don't want to have a peak at the end of the day that crashes at night because then that disrupts your sleep. And then you're looking at your sleep being like, gosh, that's a basket case too. And that's another thing I've got to work on and blah, 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 blah. We want to simplify it. So keeping a food diary. Like I said, you can write it down in your notes app. You can write it down in a journal. You can use an app. I personally like my clients to use Chronometer or MyFitnessPal. And if they're really stuck, when you're working one-to-one with me, you're tracking your nutrition in the BU Fitness and Nutrition app itself. So it makes it even more simple for you. But back to this person, she's going to look at her food diary after a week to 2 weeks to see what time her meals are, what the size is looking like, and can you even out a little bit? Can you have a medium to larger breakfast, a medium to large lunch, and a medium dinner? What that's doing is it's making sure she's got enough energy in her day, because your work day is where your body needs a lot of energy, whereas your night or the hours that you spend resting is where your body needs more recovery. Now, you need nutrition for energy and effort as well as recovery. They differ, and that's why you need a food diary to reflect on it. The other thing that this person can see from a food diary is where her protein is. Is she getting protein in the morning, or is she concentrating more of her protein at lunchtime and dinner time? Understanding this person's workday typically is early morning to early evening, and it's not an early afternoon to late evening situation. I'm going to ask that the protein needs to be met in a different ratio. If your day starts early and finishes kind of mid-afternoon, early evening, you really do need more protein intake in your breakfast and lunch than in your lunch and your dinner. If you're a server, or if you're a shift worker on like the afternoon night shift or the total night shift, your protein needs change. You need protein at lunchtime and at dinner time and in your midnight snack, because that's where your body's working the most. And it's better for your digestion to structure it that way, instead of piling on the protein for the last meal of the day before you go into a resting period, because then your body's just like, "Whoa." If you give it a little bit throughout the day, you're going to handle it a bit better, and you're just going to feel better. Your tummy is going to feel better physically. So looking at meal timing, looking at portion sizes around those timings, and looking at your protein. I also encourage this person to look at where her fiber intake is. And it's all fine and dandy to say, okay, half a cup of oatmeal in the morning, that's 8 grams of fiber. My bread at lunch, that's another 2 grams, plus a cup of lettuce, that's 2 grams. You can't do that in your head. So again, this is where a food diary can be really helpful. You can see where your fiber's coming from. And I also encourage this person to look, again, we're looking at feeling more energized, feeling more structurally slim and sound and strong. I'm asking this person to look at prebiotic fiber as well as probiotic foods to make sure that her flora is really supported, so that it can be a helpful contributing factor to her mood and energy levels, as well as down the line, supporting the flora of a growing baby. So prebiotic foods and probiotic foods. We're looking at feeding the flora that's there, as well as bringing more diversity into the flora that's there. We're not looking at a complete overhaul, gut microbiome, transposition, transfer, transplant. We're not looking at that. We're looking at taking what we have and elevating it. And we do that by feeding what's already there and bringing in some more diversity. The other thing I asked this client to look at was fluids. This person is very active in her lifestyle as well as her job description. You can't just drink straight water. And we can't just drink straight water every day. Like, imagine how boring life would be if you never had a cup of coffee or a tea, whether that be caffeinated or herbal, or never had a nice cocktail or never had a nice glass of wine. Life would be kind of bleh. A crisp Diet Coke on a summer day. Look at water intake first and foremost, but then look at what else you're drinking. Just normally, maybe you're having 2 cups of herbal tea. That's another 500 mils, 12 to 16 ounces of water. Or maybe you're having 2 liters of water and 5 cups of coffee. Wow, it's a lot of caffeine, okay? But also, if you're having 5 cups of coffee that are also 5 lattes, that's quite a few extra calories that you're having from your milk of choice. Again, just something that you need to factor into your food diary, making sure you know where your nutrition's coming from. If you're feeling good on where your nutrition is coming from, or you need to be looking at, okay, I actually don't feel great having 5 lattes. Maybe I'll cut it down to 2, and instead of having the extra milk, I'll have a chicken snack. I'll have more chicken in my lunch, or I'll have some meat sticks as a snack, or instead of having milk, I'll have a yogurt as a snack, or with a snack, or with a meal. You get what I'm saying? Reallocating where your food is serving you best. So looking at fluid intake, this person's very active. We don't want to be drinking just straight water because it will actually just go through you. I encourage very active clients to consume electrolytes. And I did mention that to her. I said, look, you are really active in your lifestyle, really active in your job description. Maybe you're losing a lot of sodium. You're sweating a lot. Maybe we need to replenish that because your body feels like it's running on dry. You are like SpongeBob crawling on land as a dry sponge. And we need to rehydrate you, but also we need to make sure that the water stays in you so that you don't keep on being a crusty SpongeBob. That's where electrolytes come in handy. And it's nothing. In the grand scheme of things, there is no research, there's no conclusive research that is stating that having an electrolyte packet in your day, obviously double check this with your GP. If you've got any previous health history, family health history, that would indicate that you need to monitor your sodium intake or have a reduced sodium intake. Check with your GP. But there's no conclusive research on healthy individuals that having an electrolyte packet a day is going to hurt you. It's not. There's no conclusive research around that. So encourage this person to look at her food diary, see where her food is coming from, what time it is coming, and what portions are where. Looking at supporting the gut microbiome that she already has through prebiotic foods and probiotics. And that can be fermented food. It doesn't have to be an actual probiotic capsule. Looking at her fluid intake and being honest with where her fluid intake is coming from, water, caffeine, alcohol, and making sure that it's mostly water, moderate caffeine, and minimum alcohol. And I also encourage this person to look at strength training. And strength training does not have to be training to hypertrophy. But I said, look, you're very active already, cardiovascularly very active. Where are you supporting your muscular endurance? You're supporting your cardiovascular endurance through the roof right now. Where is your structural muscular endurance coming from? And if we're working in medium to medium heavy weight ranges, are we working in the appropriate reps and sets? If we're working in heavy weight ranges, are we working in the appropriate reps and sets? If we're working in light weight ranges, are we working in the appropriate reps and sets? It's all about taking what you have, evaluating it for a week to 2 weeks, and saying, okay, this is working for me. This is not. The things that are working for you, great. Just leave them there. The things that are not working for you, those are the ones that you might look at and say, okay, I'm not sure if this is supporting me the best, and this is how I need to change it, or I don't know how to change it. And in that case, the former client, after I sent feedback on, picking your brain, I let her pick my brain. I gave her what I thought. She came back to me and was like, hey, so about this point that you mentioned, what do I do here? And again, I'm a sound person. So I said, here's what you're going to do. X, Y, Z. I didn't sit there and say, well, I would tell you, but you need to sign up to this first. I'd really recommend that you do this program again. I didn't do that. I just said, okay, based on what you've told me, this is what I would do. I literally gave her free advice. And like I said, I'm a sound person, so I do that. She's smart. She's worked with me before. And so I know that I can give her some helpful tips. I can point her in a helpful direction, and she's going to be okay. And she's going to do it. She's going to nail it. And she's going to feel more energized. She's going to feel stronger, more slim, more supple, more capable within 4 to 6 weeks, because she's looked at what she needs to look at. She's tracked what she needs to track, and she's making changes where she knows she needs to make changes. All because she's got the tools in her toolkit. And if you are someone who has no tools in your toolkit, or you're looking at all of your tools and you're like, none of these are helping me, I need to change every single one of them, I do encourage you to not do that alone. And that is exactly what I help people with in the 6-month Function Fitness membership. I am looking at pressure testing Function, and I need your help. I'm looking for people who want to make consistent change and feel absolutely unstoppable for 6 months. I'm not looking at people who are like, oh my gosh, I need to work for 6 months in order to feel amazing. I'm looking at people who want to start feeling amazing right now and feel amazing for 6 months. Basically, if you're starting right now, you're going to feel amazing right up until the start of the Christmas season. And you can enjoy the Christmas season to your fullest if that's your thing. But I want to pressure test Function, and I need your help. If you want structured workouts, you want a calendar to follow, you want a meal plan with delicious recipes that are going to help you meet your goals, and you want to be a part of the BU Fitness and Nutrition community, Function might be up your alley. And you get access to a coach on the app. You can always message me with questions, comments, concerns, celebrations, and I'm here for you. I'm opening up Function through the middle of May. So you can start anytime between now, middle of April to the middle of May, and help me pressure test this, help me make it better, and you get access to workouts, scheduling, accountability, nutrition, community for a ridiculously reduced rate. If that's something that's going to interest you or something you want to hear more about, I'm going to leave the link to Function in the show notes. Otherwise, my 20 minutes are up, and I am going to love you and leave you until the next episode. I hope that you found this useful and informative, and I hope it's going to encourage you to maybe do your own little 1 to 2 week reflection or life, health, wellness audit to see what's working well for you and what you'd like to see some change in. If you want to hear about something specific on the Being You Pod, reach out to me on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, or email me info@bufitnessandnutrition.com. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you join